What is up, YouTube? Jonny here again today, and we're gonna be bringing you a video on a car that you guys haven't seen in a while. It's been daily driven for the past year, more than that, after the last video that you guys saw it. And now we're just gonna be doing some minor upgrades to it. We wanted to go ahead and upgrade the expansion tank. One of the motor mounts was leaking oil, which is, it's the common engine motor mount that always has like a weird little bag of oil inside of it. And eventually it just rips and then you start having some leaks. So we're gonna be replacing that motor mount. And then at the same time, we're gonna be upgrading the catch can system from a single to a dual catch can from Radium, just to upgrade things. As we're going on, we're seeing things that were failing, that weren't working as good as we wanted them, that were kind of like ugly, so we're kind of gonna be making the engine bay look a little bit nicer. So we're gonna be doing all that in this video for the Ford Fiesta ST that has that whole R5 kit. So you guys get to see the engine bay again. So let's get started. So the first thing we're gonna be upgrading is the stock motor mount. Here it is. It's like an oil-filled motor mount, so we wanna go ahead and replace it. It seems to be leaking a little bit. The car, when we built it the first time and you guys saw all those first videos, it was at 20,000 miles when we bought the car, and we literally did all those videos in the lives, in that span all together without even running the car. And now the car's up to 48,000 miles, so we've put in another 28,000 miles of daily driving, and pushing 400 horsepower is actually put a strain on the stock motor mount. So we're gonna be upgrading it to this beast right here. It's a Vibra Technics motor mount that replaces that traditional oil system or oil mount, and it's just a whole beefy motor mount versus the race version. So it's not like full stiff, but this is still gonna be much better than this. And look at that, it just looks so much nicer. So let's go ahead and install this. So this is just gonna go straight where the other one was mounting. It doesn't come with any special sort of hardware, so we're just gonna go ahead and reuse the OEM hardware, which is gonna be just strong enough. Obviously these bolts don't really take that much force on them. So we're gonna be putting all them on by hand. You always wanna start them off by hand, and then we can go ahead and use the guns to tighten it all down. Let's go ahead and put this top piece first. Now that the motor mount is loose, or while it's loose, we can go ahead and actually mount this part. And we just want to get everything started. Just that way we know when we go to tighten it, everything's going to be in its place where it should be, and we're not going to be having an issue of any of the holes lining up. And then this comes with its own special bolt for the top of the motor mount with like a little plastic crush nut. All right, so now we can go ahead and tighten everything. So the next thing we have to upgrade is the expansion tank, and we're gonna be doing it with this Pro alloy. It's a company based out of the UK. They make some really high quality stuff, and it's really nice because a lot of the aftermarket ones don't actually bolt to the spots. They just kind of like slip in, which is the same thing that the factory one does. But the factory one is made out of plastic, so when it slips into metal joints, it's fine and it kind of like clips on, versus if you get like an aftermarket one that doesn't bolt on and it's made out of aluminum, then you get a lot of like vibration noise, and you could probably even trigger some knock, or at least make the computer think you have knock. So we're just gonna go ahead and replace the one that we had before. It started leaking a little bit at the same time, so we might as well upgrade it. And then this one has like riv nuts like spot welded on, and it's gonna be nice because it's gonna be held in by those two bolts, and it's not gonna be moving anywhere. It's gonna be nice and solid. And then at the same time, it has a much better way of letting you know, your coolant level. The other one had like a little like level thing down here that started leaking. It was kind of like shark bite fittings, and those, even in real plumbing, those tend to leak. So having something like this where it's just kind of like a mirror or like a little glass spot is what a lot of other companies use. I believe even a lot of the compressors, like the compressor we just bought for the shop, has this to show us the oil level, and that doesn't leak. So this is gonna be a nice upgrade. So let's go ahead and install it. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and Loctite the bolts that we're gonna be using. Move that to the side. I want to have them pre-Loctite, you know, on them. So that way when I go ahead and line it up, I can just grab the bolts and it'll be good to go. So let's go ahead and line this up in here without scratching it. And it just barely fits. So in the same stock locations where the original one mounts, there's like bolt holes. So we're just gonna go ahead and try to put the bolt in, and it's just short enough to where like it barely fits. So you can get it in there, it's just gonna be a tight fit. So I'm gonna go ahead, put it in by hand. Kind of snug it a little bit. We still wanna have a little bit of movement so that way we're able to get in the second bolt. This one is gonna be much more difficult. Got it. Slipped on a bit easier than I expected. Okay. All right guys, so now that we got the motor mount installed and we got the expansion tank installed, we're gonna be installing the dual Radium catch cans. These are gonna be a full closed system. We're gonna be replacing our old open system, just mainly because these are gonna be needed if we wanna take the car on track, you know, with a specific sanctioning team, or I think it's called NASA, or any other ones that might be in your area, and that's gonna help out. And these come unassembled. I assembled them real quick. We just put dash 10 fittings on one, dash 8 fittings on the other. And then the one that you put the dash 10 fittings uses this weird, different type of bracket that's gonna be mounting to the motor mount. And then this one, this is actually mounted to the motor mount that we just installed. And then this one's gonna be mounting to the ECU bracket. That's why this one has dash 8. That's just how they did it. We're gonna do it exactly the same way that Radium suggests that we do it. So let's go ahead and mount these. And obviously you can tell that I also went ahead and installed the line to be able to drain them, you know, much easier than having to remove them every time. So let's go ahead and put them in the car. Go ahead and click it back in. So we got one of the catch cans done. The installation was actually not too bad. The main issue we were having is with the actual expansion tank kind of being in the way, so I have to move that out of the way a bit because it interferes with the AN line. But once we got that out of the way, it mounting straight to the motor mount and then just a straight shot to all where they're supposed to go. It's nice that they gave us enough hose to where we could just cut it and then know that we were gonna have enough, because a lot of other kits will have a way too long of a line and then you have to like kind of like route it weird. But since this one has the line where you can just cut it, it just lines up really nicely with it. So it gives it a nice clean look. It's not moving, it's all nice and solid. And now that we're done with that, let's go ahead and install the next one. Slide it into place. Get the nuts on there. So we got the new, or the secondary Radium catch can mounted. We put Loctite on these nuts, and then over here we went ahead and routed the hose from this section here. We deleted the factory hose, it's like a plastic one. Used one of their adapters that looks exactly like this to hook up there with the little clamp that came with, and then we went ahead and just hooked it up straight to the bottom. And then on the top part of the catch can, that's supposed to route to wherever your intake is breathing from. In our case, we don't have a stock intake or even a stock style. Our intake is actually way back there, as you can see with the gold wrap on it. That already had a line from over there, so all we did is hook up to that line. And if you probably can't see under here with that much light, but we just mounted it there. So the AN line just kind of goes that way towards the back, towards the intake. A little bit different, but in case you have it, I think the factory location is kind of like here, so you'd have to like connect it there. But in our case, we feel like it looks a little bit cleaner because we don't have all that piping there in the way. But there we are. The Radium catch cans are installed. Now we just need to do just a little simple like cleaning up, making sure that the drain lines are like routed through a nice spot. But other than that, it's pretty much done. All right guys, so that's gonna be it for the video. We got all three of those things installed. The car should hopefully drive a lot better. We still got to test out to see how that motor mount feels. It's most likely going to be a lot more rigid than the stock one. Going to get a little bit more vibrations, but it's going to be much stronger than the factory stuff. With this car, it doesn't really matter. We're not looking for it to be a comfortable daily driver. It's supposed to be a race car for the street, even though it does get daily driven. With the new expansion tank, hopefully we're going to stop whatever leaks it had. Obviously, we just deleted the whole piece that was leaking, so that should be out of the question. And then with the new catch cans, they're going to be a bit better for when we decide to go track racing with SCCA. They're going to function how they should, but they're not going to be vented to atmosphere, which is going to pass their inspection. So yeah, got all that installed. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Kind of gave you a little bit of knowledge of what to do when you're modifying your Fiesta ST. So as always, I hope you guys enjoy and you have a great day.